Well, The Post has been getting a lot of Oscar buzz, but is the movie worth all the hype? Our Matt Perrin lets us know in your movie review Monday.
Welcome to a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Monday. The box office was a little slow for a holiday weekend, with Jumanji holding the #1 spot over all the new releases. I was interested in seeing Proud Mary, and as action-packed as I'm sure it is, I still shied away from Taken 5. Or is it Nonstop 2? No, The Commuter. That's what it's called. I did take advantage of Columbia doing a single showing of Call Me By Your Name, which is supposed to be a shoo-in for Best Picture, but since it only showed for one viewing, I'll save that review for Oscar time. Every year, Tom Hanks does a based-on-a-true-story film that gets nominated for a Best Picture, and this year is no exception. Plus, he has Meryl Streep in it right next to him, so how can this be bad? Without any further ado, here's my take on The Post. Our film begins in 1971. Kay Graham, played by Meryl Streep, is the first female newspaper publisher. She runs the Washington Post, which at the time was considered a small local paper. She's trying to open the paper on the stock exchange as an IPO, but investors are worried having a woman in charge. Ben Bradley, played by Hanks, is her head editor at the paper. Suddenly, the New York Times receives government secrets exposing a four-president cover-up about the Vietnam War. They publish a few stories and then are hit by an injunction from the government. Ben is in a hurry to play catch-up. Being that the Times is no longer allowed to publish, he knows that if he can get his hands on those pages, they can publish the stories with no competition. The race is on. Ben has his top reporters searching. One of them manages to connect the dots and figure out who must have stolen them originally, and through some covert operations, he manages to acquire them himself. Knowing that the documents are on the way, Ben has to meet with Kay. She never thought they would get the report, and it definitely paints some very close friends of hers in a not so favorable light. She has to decide if by publishing these top secret documents, if it could put soldiers in harm's way. They also soon discover that their source may be the same as the New York Times, so if they publish, they will risk a contempt of court and jail time. As the movie progresses, these are the tough decisions that must be made. The paper could be dissolved, jail time could be served, and the full wrath of Richard Nixon could be brought down on all of their heads. Is it worth all of this to defend the right of free press? The lines have been drawn for the first real battle between the press and the government, and although we all may know how it plays out, we're still on the edge of our seats to see how we get there. So, what to say about this one? Do you honestly think that a movie directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep is going to draw a bunch of harsh criticism? The movie is fantastic, especially being in this line of work. To see what these publications and reporters faced all those decades ago is fascinating. The performances are fantastic as expected. The funny thing is, watching Meryl Streep and how amazing she is just the norm and what you expect from her. Tom Hanks delivers a strong performance and really makes you realize what his character was fighting for. What's also interesting is seeing the reunion of Mr. Show with Bob and Dave. It's kind of weird seeing Bob Odenkirk and David Cross acting side by side in a serious drama, but they pull it off well. Everyone knows this is going to get a Best Picture nod, and in fact, it was supposed to take all of the Golden Globes. Now, that didn't happen, but this film is definitely in the running for some Oscar gold. I have absolutely no reservations telling you that you should definitely take this one in. This has been your Monday Movie Musing. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
All right, thanks, Matt. A final look at your weather after the break.